Good morning, everybody. It's Lisa Derby Oden here, and today I am with Ron Giard. And Ron, you and I have been doing a lot of work together lately, so I'm really pleased to have you here this morning. And I would love for you to tell us what you do at MEP. What's your role, and job title, and all of that kind of stuff. We'll start out with that.
Sure. Well, good morning, and thank you, Lisa. We absolutely have been working together very closely. So some pretty exciting times that we're going through right now. So I am the sales manager, business development manager. So we're kind of transitioning as well. So we're all taking on some additional new roles. And as you know, with the MassMEP, our mission is to support Massachusetts manufacturing companies. And my role in all of that is more around business development today. And part of that role is first and foremost educating a lot of companies that aren't familiar with the MassMEP. So educating them and letting them know the support systems that are available to them as a Massachusetts manufacturing company. And that's through advisory support, training support, and also grant funding through the Workforce Training Fund that a lot of companies that are not aware of. And so a big part of my role has transitioned into that area.
That's great. You're talking about a transition. Maybe you want to say just a little bit about what you were doing prior to the transition, what your role was when you first came aboard, and how you've progressed through
Sure.
roles, what your career path has been. How did you find MassMEP?
Sure.
All that stuff.
Yeah. So I've been with the MassMEP just about a year, and I joined last January, and then shortly after COVID hit.
Yeah.
And so it's been quite a ride as we've gone through not just the MassMEP, but all of manufacturing companies as well as everyone in general. It's been a change for a lot of people on how they deal with issues day to day. But my background is about 35 years of manufacturing experience. And that is from starting from an engineering standpoint. So my background is, or education, I should say, is mechanical engineering degree from WPI many years ago. And along the way, as I was supporting companies as a process engineer, decided I want to learn more about the business side of companies that I was working with or working for, and went back and I got my MBA. So kind of transitioned from more engineering to operations, and then also got involved with general management at one of the companies that I worked for. So kind of a technical background into more the operations, and then making things happen on a daily basis. So that's a bit of my background, and how I transitioned into this role at the MassMEP. After many years of working in the manufacturing environment, I still wanted to stay in manufacturing, but I got to a point in my career I said I need to do something different. And this opportunity came up. I interviewed with a couple of the people at MassMEP, learned more about their mission, which I was familiar with the MassMEP, but not to the extent I have learned what the offerings are since coming to the MassMEP, which has really been a bright spot for me. So as I joined the MassMEP last year, my role was to become a project manager and work directly with companies through training assistance, advisory support, et cetera. Transition more into the Northeast region of Massachusetts as the Northeast Regional Manager, working with a lot of our project managers, and then through COVID and working with our PMs and in management, we're having to reshuffle and figure out how to do things a little differently. So we've been able to transition some of our training to virtual, and we also became a really big support system, or I'd say liaison with the state, as in working with the MERT, the Massachusetts Emergency Response Team, in assisting a lot of those manufacturers who were making PPE, and a lot of companies that decided that they had that skill set, so they pivoted and they started making PPE. So we became the liaison between the state, the MERT, and a lot of these companies in providing information, assistance, and it helped them transition. And then eventually where we are right now is kind of continuing on some of the work I was doing, is further developing business with them outside of the PPE and educating them on the other offerings that we provide to manufacturing companies.
You know what, Ron? That was a very thorough answer, and I appreciate it that you gave time to all those questions that I front loaded with. That was excellent. Thank you so much. So, tell me, what's the thing that gets you excited about your work that you do here at MassMEP? What's your passion? What's the thing that you really love about your job?
So professionally, my passion really hasn't changed in the companies I work for. It's the same at the MassMEP. Is I've worked for a lot of a number. I won't say a lot, but a number of different manufacturing organizations and industries. And being that engineer
Yeah.
that I am, that never leaves you, is just a desire to learn about the products, the process, the people. And it's been no different in transitioning to the MassMEP. My role is different in one sense, but at the end of the day, I kind of break things into three categories. It's about people, it's about process, and it's about tools. And so the environment could be different, the products could be different that you're offering, but really the process doesn't change. So my passion is learning, and then passing on to the people, whether my coworkers, colleagues, clients, is getting them to realize the value they offer to their company, their organization, their coworkers, and pulling out that value and getting them excited about what they do every day, which gets difficult.
Yeah.
The reality is, you go to work every day, and some days are going to be better than others, but if you can learn something new, or you could add value, or you can see that you're adding value, that it's satisfying to see some of that. And at the MassMEP, that's what we do, is offer advisory and training support, and working with smaller teams.
Yeah.
In some cases, and getting them to understand what they do every day makes a difference. And it has really come to light, especially with these companies making PPE, is for them to realize what the value they are providing, in some cases, life-saving value,
Right.
to people. So
Yeah.
it's nice to see that. So that's really been my passion around, from a professional standpoint.
That's great. And I have to agree with you that whole, I guess, sort of bouquet of things, I'll put it that way, because each one of those three things that you mentioned just struck me as flowers jumping up out of the ground, but I think those are great. So, okay, so now, once you close your door on work at the end of the day, ha ha ha, right? Anyway, what in your personal life is the thing that brings you the most joy, or that's your passion or hobby. And, I mean, that those things are all, they could be interrelated, but they could all be different things. And so
Sure.
share what you would like.
Yeah, so I will. Thank you. And it is the roles I've been in, and probably just my makeup is it's always tough to just shut things off.
Yep.
And I would
Yep.
say that is something that I work hard at, and it's hard for me to just shut those things off because of the
They get
roles I've been in.
Yeah, and
Well,
it gets going around in your
oh
head,
yeah,
right?
oh yeah, yeah. When for some reason you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not the only one, and you say, I got to write that down, otherwise I'm going to forget.
You know what? I was thinking exactly that. I think that's so funny, and I'm so glad you said that. So anyway, go ahead.
So I'm no different than a number of people from that standpoint. But from a personal standpoint, and it has changed over time. But so my wife and I have 3 kids, now adults, and really they've been my passion in regards to their schooling, their sports, their outside activities, and before you know it, 30 years have passed.
Yeah.
So it's hard to believe that, but that's really been a big part of my passion, is being there for them and providing them the support they need so they can be successful. So now they're adults and they're no longer under our roof. So we've been successful there. And a part of what I've done over the years as well is I'm a big do-it-yourselfer.
Okay.
So, and maybe that's part of the engineer in me is I've been a little reluctant to maybe have people do things for me because I can do it. and I'm not the only one, and I'll figure a way to do it. So that's become, and it has been a big part of my life. And luckily the kids have been interested as well. So they've learned a lot of those skills, I'll call them. And that continues to be, it's kind of my therapy is I'll do a lot of, just do it yourself projects around the house, you name it, and I'll try and figure it out. But I kind of consider that my therapy, and being able to just have time to myself to do some of those things.
That's great. There is something about, figuring out a problem of some kind, but then maybe like having it connected to your hands as well,
Right.
where you get in there and you just do it. So
And you see the end result. So
yes, yeah,
you see something completed, because in today's world, a lot of things may start, but it's an evolution, and it could take years. And you think of some of our businesses that we're dealing with around, especially say medical devices, or yeah, I'd say more medical device. Some of these periods of time just to get them through to a final product could be years.
right.
So seeing things maybe in a shorter time frame and seeing it completed, there's a level of satisfaction there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. All right, so now we're going to close today with the favorite part for everybody, which is we want you to tell us 3 things about yourself, 2 that are true and 1 that you've made up. And then we're going to guess about the made up one offline. So what do you got for us, Ron?
All right. So I'm going to go back through my life here. So this isn't going to
Okay.
just be most recent stuff. So
Yeah.
I'll throw out that I was a pretty good soccer coach. Another one is I was a pretty avid cross-country runner in my day.
Okay.
And also an avid golfer.
Okay. All sports things.
All sports. Yeah, very, very active, and it continued on with my kids. So I thought that would be a good theme.
Yeah. Okay.
I was gonna put the do-it-yourselfer in, but I already gave that away.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ron. This will be fun to try to figure out what's what there. So I want to thank you for taking time. I know that you are a very busy person at MassMEP, so I do appreciate it that you would carve this time out. This has been great, and I'll probably see you, shortly in
Oh,
another
yeah, we'll be
Zoom.
on another Zoom call before you know it.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you.